You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hey everybody, welcome back one more time. It's your pals at Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast plus one. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. And who we got again? The man, the myth. The OJ.
Legend. The OJ. What's up, guys? Thanks for having me back on.
Always a pleasure. Anytime we can cotton you into being on a Zoom call with us and then just start a podcast. Trap you into it.
I love being here.
Good.
I we're gonna be talking some TV tonight, so it's gonna be fun.
And you should, if you haven't listened, Jesse's been guesting with us on our RPG Kids on Bikes we've been playing, and you should really check it out and hear the adventure we are crafting as we go. So
well, looking at the numbers, the downloads are better for those episodes than these episodes. So really we should start Kids on Bikes episodes telling people to listen to the other ones.
Yeah.
That's great.
And if you were listening to those, we have to give a very special shout out to the other guests we had on previous episode.
Yeah. He did me a big favor.
The illustrious one returned as his most beloved creation,
Ronald
Tramp.
P.
Tramp.
And his younger form, he was 20 in this. He's just a young
He was
young
Ronnie.
kid. Yeah, Ronnie P. Jr. He did a great job, and he did everything I asked of him and more, and then cut and run. That's all you can ask.
So thank you, Michael K. Easton. See everything he is working on at SoProComics.com. We got a couple Kickstarters on the way, some new books that are coming out. We got a few cool things in the works, so see what he's been busy doing over there.
So we had a few shows here that finished up. We wanted to talk about. Let's start with the Big Daddy.
Here's the reason I haven't been writing comics.
Yeah.
Michael's been busy drawing comics, but I haven't been writing because I've been watching too much TV.
So everybody finished Stranger Things by now. What is the consensus? How do we feel about Stranger Things season 4?
I will say that my son all of a sudden wants to play guitar.
Oh, I bet he does.
I will say that this is probably one of my favorite seasons of Stranger Things that came out. Last time we were on here, I threw it out there, like who was it going to be? Who was the one that was going to be facing their demise? Because that's kind of the pattern that we see. Those final 2 episodes, I don't think any of them were a letdown. I mean, I had a great time all around with this whole season, but those final 2 episodes, wasn't too hard to binge those. I think we're talking 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours just about. Yeah, I like all of the season so far, but season 3 did get a little bit of criticism for being a little too campy, a little too unrealistic, a little bit too much pretend this is what the 80s were, with the bright colors and all that. Like that stuff was around, but this is Stranger Things, and it's all, it's all about
pretty
the wood.
Shiny and polished.
Yeah. Yeah, this is about the wood panel walls and everything being brown and the more authentic look.
Will's haircut.
Yeah. I thought they definitely got back to basics and more. They reached down and did more of what people have liked in the beginning. So,
right. Yeah, man. Again, like I said, the way that they ended these 2, with those 2 episodes, it felt epic enough to me to be worthy of, one of the top seasons of Stranger Things, and how absolutely crazy it is. We get I always wanted to see more of the Upside Down, and we got so much of that this season, it feels like. And now we've got the way that this season ended. So I think we're probably going to be treated to a lot of that next season as well, as it seems to be they are going to be bleeding over into even more, big time, into Earth, our reality or whatever.
I had no idea this was not going to be the last season.
Going into it, I thought this was the last season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Total surprise.
But they've said, we had this plan. Everything's been outlined for years. Like, the old George Lucas excuse that, I know exactly what I'm doing. So
right.
We got to take their word for it that they have a plan and they're executing.
Yeah. Couple things, that were funny. The whole Justice for Barb thing, that we made a joke about it. But, right. But bringing her, just for a little, that character back as a reminder of how shitty some of these characters could be in the beginning. So that was kind of fun. But just, I don't know. Great performances all around from the cast, I thought. The girl that plays Max, and of course Millie Bobby Brown, and Sadie Sink, yeah. And I don't know, they're fun to watch for some reason.
That's why I don't understand the main criticism, which I even saw Millie Bobby Brown was saying, of like, you need to kill characters off. There needs to be real danger. And it's like, if this is an 80s movie, they didn't kill Goonies halfway through the movie. Like,
right.
Like,
right.
I get the point of like wanting there to be high stakes, and if some of these characters don't make it, that doesn't feel like what this is. And they might not all make it clear to the end, but like, again, we're not done yet. Like, I like these characters. I want to be with them. So I'm not going to say it's unrealistic that none of them died. No.
Well,
yeah, I was originally kind of miffed. Well, not real. I remember watching that, fourth episode where you thought, was that the one running up the hill and all that?
Yeah, where Max looked like she was
kind of like, will they, won't they? Are they going to kill her in this episode or not? And I really felt at the time it could go either way, which is what I want, is to at least feel like it could. I felt like they could pull the trigger. They could have pulled her into this show to make you love her and then do this to her, so they don't lose one of the original main characters, but they still lose someone that you care about. And then they didn't, but that was fine, because it's like, it's such a fine line to walk. Nobody wants to lose this character. It's one of our favorite characters. Even I like her more than most of the original characters. So I didn't want her to go, but I did want stakes, and I really felt like they satisfied that with what she went through in the final episode. I feel like that her her going through that was enough. I wanted something. I didn't just want her to rise in the air again and do the exact same thing. You knew it wasn't going to work. You knew we all felt that vibe. When your plan never works, something's going to go wrong, and it felt like she's going to die. She's going to die. Well, she didn't, but this was still enough. It was far enough for me.
Yeah.
There was, I don't know about this whole there isn't stakes thing. I thought Hopper, there's a potential he could die. I thought he was going to probably lose the battle.
That's probably what started the critical argument of like, wow, they killed Hopper 30 seconds later. Oh, no, they didn't.
Right.
So I think that might be what got it rolling. Of like, they're never going to kill anybody. They better kill somebody.
We want blood.
Yeah.
Well,
you like to just at least think that it's possible they would kill a character and keep them dead. And when they prove that they don't do that, it kind of gets on your nerves a little. Like, is this just another fake out? But I did not feel like that at all at the end of this season. I was perfectly satisfied with those last two episodes. My favorite characters were Sadie Sink and what the Eddie Munson character, loved both of those so much. I love their storylines. The Master of Puppets thing was the highlight for me. I love that album. I love that song. I've jammed it a million times, and seeing him do that in the matchup of that with a D&D setting, basically, he is doing a D&D thing. He is fighting it off. He's a bard in that thing. He is playing his song, and as the beasts blast around him and fighting them off with the magic of what he's doing, that is when this show really leans on D&D, and some of it can be a little hokey, but some of it is inspired. And some of it is exactly what you want to see. It's what you imagine when you're sitting at the table, and to get to actually see them fulfill some of this in $30 million an episode, beautifulness. It's just like, well done. Well done.
He's got quite a metal aficionado with us tonight, so I assume that was his favorite scene too.
Oh yeah, I it kind of got spoiled for me. I had somebody send a
Ronnie
message
Adams.
To yeah, he's like, "Oh my gosh, it's the most amazing thing. It's set by Matt." I'm like, "Master of Puppets. Oh, I can't wait to see this." I was excited, even though I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But man, if I would have known it was going to happen, it would have blew my mind. What really did my soul some good was when my son was like singing Master of Puppets to me out of nowhere. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, is he actually singing Metallica right now? Because, this kid has grown up on Logan Paul and all this other junk. And now we get that bit. I mean, like I said, next year.
Blasting it in the house all the time now.
Oh.
Take him over. This is your chance to steal his soul.
We immediately went through And Justice for All shortly thereafter. I was like, hey, son, sit down. Let me show you something.
This is just like every parent should. Sit down here and listen to this music that Seth's parents thought would turn him into a fucking...
But then, okay, so Caleb, we have an electric guitar here. Grabs the electric guitar. He sits down. He downloads an app. And he's like sitting there playing whatever the name of this app is, Tuna Fish or something. I'm serious. And then like 2 days later, he's like, "Hey, Dad, can you get this for me?" And sure enough, it's a paywall for $154 a year for this thing. And I'm like, "Sorry, son, you're just going to have to learn on your own."
Yeah. You can look up free tablature like Ultimate Guitar and things like that and just tell you where to put your fingers.
Don't start with Master of Puppets, though.
Yeah.
I saw the actor either knew how to play guitar or learned how to play guitar and played a lot of that himself, but he couldn't get the solos. They were just way too fast. So the bassist of Metallica, Rob Trujillo's son, actually played the actor played a lot of the song, but the complicated parts, Metallica Jr. played it.
That's great.
Cool.
Yeah. I hadn't gotten spoiled on it until like that the morning it came out. People were showing that photo of him on the roof.
Yeah, I saw it too right before.
And I'm like, okay, I know that's because I knew the plan was they're gonna sneak and do it, so it kind of spoiled it. But I didn't know what song it was. So when the song kicked in, I didn't feel like I'd been spoiled at all because I was like, whoa, all right, there we go.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, there was some other fun stuff in there, just little slight references to 80s goodness. Tons of stuff in there. Cracked me up with the Conan sword that Hopper picks up, because as it was happening, I'm like, where did he get that sword? and just another one, having Steve and Nancy and Dustin, I think, dressed up like the Frog Brothers from the Lost Boys. Cracked me up too. So
I was getting
no, they had Dustin was supposed to be was from what'd you say, Jordan?
Red Dawn.
Red Dawn.
Yeah, he was Patrick Swayze.
I was getting the Red Dawn.
He had the Patrick Swayze on.
Yeah. So
and the rose on the door is a very Stephen King thing, like Dark Tower reference. And there's another really good reference when the helicopter is swooping in on Elle and Dr. Brenner, and the one guy says something about leading them. Did anyone catch that reference? That is a Full Metal Jacket reference, starring Matthew Modine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When he says, "How can you shoot women or children? Easy, you just don't lead them so much."
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff in there. So.
Yeah,
I imagine that we're going to have some time in between seasons again before we ever get season 5. It'd probably be another couple of years. But man, I was just every time a new season comes out of this, I love it so much. It's just so fun to watch.
This was might have been my favorite in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Like that last bit there really did it for me. I didn't care for, like I said before, I didn't care for a lot of the L stuff in this season, but the other stuff really picked it up. And
yeah,
like all the bullying stuff, like you said, it felt exaggerated more than for the first season's very realistic. This felt like
hyper.
The bullies seem so extreme, but
and
it was back, like people talking like like the first season was a phenomenon, and then the next couple didn't seem like it was quite as big. But this, I feel like everyone was talking about that next day.
Yeah,
and it made an impact in pop culture.
It really did. It really, really did. We talked about the Kate Bush thing, and now we're talking about Master of Puppets, and it's not like Kate Bush went away. Trust me, because it's still getting played everywhere. But yeah, I had people at work that I normally don't talk to about shows who were reaching out and being like, "Did you watch this season finale?" It's just a phenomenon, like you said.
All right, next show. What you got? Pick one.
Boys.
When you gave him to the Russians, you knew Soldier Boy would come back one day. You need to face him.
I show people the real me. I mean, they fucking love me. What's this?
Makes you a soup for 24 hours. He's lost his fucking mind.
The gloves are off. Thought we could fight Vought the right way, but we can't. It's all rigged. We have to do it your way.
Butcher has powers, I assume, thanks to you. They've killed Crimson Countess and 7 other heroes.
Jesus Christ.
For once, I'll level the fucking playing field.
Season 3, Amazon Prime, The Boys. I don't remember loving this show when it first started, but I at this point I love this show. I don't know if it changed or if it grew or if I was always on this level. I'm not sure, but by the end of this season, I was loving every single episode.
Yeah. I finished this, I think, about, shortly after the last episode dropped. I think me and the wife sat down and watched it. And yeah, I mean, it's not doing any wrong by me. Everything that I'm watching, I am enjoying, and I love, just some of the insanity that they put on the screen with some of this, with these supers. It's unreal.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing with this season was everybody was two things. They wanted, the Soldier Boy character, everybody was anticipating, and then the Hero-gasm issue. Everybody was waiting around on that episode just to see how they were going to do it. So, pretty shocking. They did it. Pretty shocking points. But I thought Jensen Ackles did a great job with this.
Yeah.
Like
my wife's in the middle of watching Supernatural. She's like, I don't know, probably season 4, season 5, and she's sitting down and watching Boys with me. She almost didn't recognize him.
Yeah.
And I was like, you realize who that is, don't you? And she's of course, she thinks he's a hottie, and so that kept her glued to the screen. He did a fantastic job this season as Soldier Boy.
How sacrilegious did a Captain America fan find that?
I like that guy. I like all that. It was a good show. I don't think I loved it as much as everybody else, but there were definitely moments that I'm not somebody that gets grossed out normally too bad, but some of the stuff is just that's the part I don't care for, is like some of the really going far stuff, just because I'm like, ugh.
There was some bad stuff.
I'm more squeamish, I guess. I mean, they push it really hard.
Yeah, they're seeing what they can get away with.
Like, after I saw the first episode, I didn't go back for a week or two. I was like, okay, wait. People are saying this is even better than it has been, so I watched. Yeah, I like the whole season.
I mean, the way that they ended this too, where we have that scene. Homelander shows up and somebody calls him a fascist or something, throws a rock at him, and he just obliterates them in front of the crowd, and then there's cheering. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Just there's way too much realism right there.
I know, man.
This isn't, Well, there's people that argue. I don't know what you're talking about. This is symbolism for what? Huh?
It's not woke at all, for sure. But yeah, what a potent metaphor for, we used to have to hide things, and now it's fine. We can do whatever we want, and people will still cheer us.
Yep.
Wow. And that actor is just terrifying. Like, how many evil Supermans have there been? A million versions of it, but like, he's just dead behind the eyes. Like, when he shows up, and he, like, speaking of stakes, like, he could rip you in half. I don't know what characters he might swoop in and pat you on the back, or he might rip you in half. I don't know.
You just don't know.
And he could be listening. Anything right you now. Say, he might hear
right now.
Right. So yeah, he does a great job of just being threatening and terrifying, even just standing still. So
right. Yeah, even I think it was going back to like season 1 where they kept showing him. We think he's staring at a portrait of himself or a flag or something or other, and then it's revealed, he's using that X-ray vision to see into rooms and listen into conversations. It was just like, oh yeah, this is. You can use that stuff for nefarious reasons.
But so he's the most dangerous, deadly person on the planet, but he was constrained because he didn't want anyone to know that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now it's all bets are off.
Right.
People are still on his side. So now there is literally nothing constraining him. Like, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Again, signifying nothing in our own reality. Just fun superhero satire.
Well, on the other side of superhero shows, we just had the finale of Ms. Marvel.
See my shawl. Where's my pashmina shawl?
I have an announcement to make.
I asked you for getting that from Khan Market. What? Oh, okay.
Actually, first, an apology for not making this announcement sooner, and also for what happened at the wedding. I'm so sorry. And for sneaking out to AvengerCon. Okay. Okay. I am the light girl.
You're what?
Nightlight.
Oh my God! I had no idea.
Oh, Toba.
You told them already?
I only told Abu. Really?
What are you implying?
In classic Khan gossip train, you tell Ummi, she tells Abu, and we over here because he always has his phone on speaker.
And I was curious after watching that, the ending of that, to see what your opinions are now on the changes they've made.
We talked about the first 2, so we had just gotten kind of a taste of it the last time we talked about. So
you guys feel free to spoil anything. I only watched up to episode 3. I'll just kind of put my piece in here now.
Yeah, go ahead. I want to hear what you think.
Well, we got bored. at episode 3. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that out there.
I had another friend tell me that they got through 2 and just didn't care anymore.
I thought the second episode was my favorite. I really liked the whole her dancing around and doing through her house and on the stairs and stuff.
Oh yeah,
I liked those scenes like that. So anyway, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say there's some great visuals that happen in what I've seen so far. The storytelling's different enough to kind of keep me interested in regards to how it's showing up on the screen. But I don't know what it was, but episode 3, I think, if I remember correctly, is where they're having the big. That's where Brown Jovi shows up, and the wedding.
I laughed out loud when they started fighting and start playing the song.
Yeah, yes, and as much as we're Marvel fans, we just weren't really into it didn't seem like there was a whole lot going on, in my opinion. Nothing that just it wasn't anything that grabbed me, kind of like WandaVision did or Loki did. There wasn't something there that I could identify with personally that made me go, okay, I've got to keep tuning it back into this. Moon Knight kind of that drug on for me a little bit. I gave it, I stuck through it all. But
this felt really similar to me as Moon Knight in that it was trying to be an origin story and introduce some villains and his past and it was just trying to do a whole lot in 6 episodes, and I feel like this was doing the same thing.
Yeah. So we're going to go back, and I'm sure we're going to finish the series, but anyway, we stopped at 3 and we haven't had a chance to go back yet. But go ahead, please continue.
Well,
I'll do a quick little Okay, so episode 3. We had the flashback to India, 1942, and we see the bangle on a severed blue arm.
Yeah.
Which has to be Kree.
Yeah, that's going to come back around, huh?
And she says, the man at the temple said you needed 2. Okay, that's probably important. So, yeah, are the 10 rings, is that the other one, or have we seen the other one? We don't know at this point.
I read some speculation about the ending and the possibility that I don't know Marvel that well. So the 2 bands are actually Marvel's Nega
bands, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And that was a possibility, and that could have been why, tying it into Carol Danvers and why she showed up in place of Kamala. Having to do with that, like when she, when he put them together or whatever, and so the other big thing, the other big mention though in that last episode was the word mutant.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was used. Okay.
Yeah. So nothing more than that, but just the word was mentioned.
How long are they just going to tease this? I'm really getting sick of it. I think
it's coming pretty quickly.
It's got to be happening sometime soon, because it's just like every single time I'm like, we got to bring the mutants in. Well, yeah, let's do it, please.
Yeah. Let's do it. Some of you are going to live forever, but I'm on a clock here.
No kidding. Let's get her done.
What were you going to say, Jordan?
I was still on episode 3, so we're
sorry, I jumped ahead. I got excited.
That was the origin stuff of her grandmother or great grandmother.
Yeah.
And the clandestine reference, which is real obscure Marvel history. I have no clue about these characters.
I just saw Evan Bevins talking about. He wrote a blog on the first issue, so that must have inspired him to do that. He was talking about that. Okay.
And the djinn of the mythology, that's they're these superpowered beings or whatever. So that's the wedding episode. The Department of Damage Control shows up, which last time we saw Damage Control, I thought that's what the Vulture was, right? That's like the cleanup crew,
right?
So I'm not sure how they became like a SHIELD organization sort of thing. Like they're completely different now, so I didn't quite get what I missed there. And that episode, we get the quote, "Good isn't a thing you are, it's a thing you do," which comes directly from the comic and is, I said, that's her great power, great responsibility quote. That's like the defining idea of Kamala Khan. So at the end, she needs to come to Karachi, she is told. So that's episode 4. We get a road trip to Pakistan. And she meets these red daggers. Again, I'm sure that's from the comics. I don't know anything about it.
Well, it's like a group of people or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's...
Okay.
Yeah, some handsome
not actual daggers.
They're handsome young people with scarves around their faces.
Right.
Okay.
Just
All
people that a superhero would fall instantly in love with. So we learn the clandestine are from some hidden parallel world, and that they need the bangle to unleash their world onto ours and get hope. Right. So that becomes the overall conflict of the season. These people have been around since the 40s, and they want to get home, but doing so would put our reality in danger. As far as Marvel villains go,
yeah,
not a fan.
Yeah.
So we have the car chase through the streets of Karachi, and that was a cool episode as far as like what TV show has been set in Pakistan or movie? Where have you seen Pakistani culture and restaurant? Maybe a movie about terrorism or Zero Dark 30 or something like that. But like as far as just seeing everyday
just
people
regular people.
And it was interesting. So yeah, episode 5 starts with an extended flashback, 1942. And this Aisha character, we still don't get to know exactly what her deal was. They said she brought shame to the family. I don't feel like they ever quite explained what that was. But yeah, this veil opens, and the clandestine are gonna go through it, and this century-long quest that they've been on to do this, Kamala just kind of talks her out of it in a minute and a half. It's like, you don't want to do that, right? It's like, I guess not. So again, it just kind of the villains. I didn't understand the plan. The villains weren't that interesting, but everything around it was so interesting, and they're also quirky and cute. I still liked it, but. So yeah, then that final episode, again, we have one episode to wrap all this up, and we have pretty big action scenes. There's a standoff at the school. Some people learn her secret identity. We get the word embiggen for the first time.
Oh, nice.
Just her catchphrase in the comics, Simpsons reference. She gets a little better handle on her powers. So yeah, again, that ending of like, she herself doesn't save the day. It's like the community comes together and has her back, and they all come together. So yeah, that's where we end on those few references. Old smarty Mr. Bruno finds out there's something different about her genetic makeup. Something, and that little pause. I'm like, is he gonna say inhuman?
Yeah.
And he says something, a mutation. I'm like, oh no. And we got a music cue, Jesse. You're gonna love the music cue as well.
Oh, really?
But she gives it some thought and says that's just another label. So I like that idea of like she's not going to be defined by whether she's mutant or inhuman or clandestine or whatever.
Oh, they'll leave that up to the public to do that.
So yeah, it leaves it ambiguous enough that if they want to, there's still some wiggle room on what it wants to do. We had the post-credit scene and a nice little cameo. And then Ms. Marvel will return in The Marvels.
Ooh.
What's that supposed to be?
I feel like it's still a while.
I'm sure it's definitely next year sometime. Yeah, I forget the schedule. Yeah, I like the show. I thought it started out stronger than it ended. I really liked the first 2 episodes. And then I stuck with it to the end. Some of it didn't work for me. It just became a lot like other things as it went on.
6 episodes is not a huge investment, though. When you're thinking about it time-wise for like me, I have no problem going back and doing this.
That's why I was like, I'm easily going to stick with it because I really like her as an actress, and I still like it. I honestly still like it better than most of the Netflix superhero shows. just has a Disney feel to it more than some of the just let's kill time for 10 episodes or 13 episodes on Netflix.
Yeah, there's plenty of those where you could chop out a bunch of stuff.
I'd like to watch a machete cut of those shows on Netflix because there's good stuff in there. Mm-hmm. It's just a lot of puff.
Yeah, my only issue with that show, and it wasn't a bad thing, but as I was watching it, I kept thinking, this feels like a Disney Channel kid show.
Yeah.
You know, like my daughter would watch this on as just a regular Disney Channel show almost. So that was my only thing. And I get that. Like, that's, you know, we want to pull in a wider audience or whatever, and have things that appeal to more people. Then that's one way of doing it. But yeah, that was my only thought. But I liked it. I thought it was good enough. So, especially the ending, I thought there was enough there to keep me interested. So, for more. So,
her character and how charming she is and how playful and unfazed by all the silliness, and her connection to her family and her community, that's what I'm watching it for. The other stuff seemed kind of unimportant. I kind of zoned out a little bit. I didn't care about the clandestine world and all that stuff. That didn't matter to me. But I like this is her learning to be a hero and figuring out what she's doing. So yeah, I don't know where I'd rank it if we were ranking the Disney shows, but it's not at the top, but it was fine. I enjoyed it. And keep an eye out. They ended with the little TikTok videos at the end of everybody talking about Ms. Marvel. One of them was G. Willow Wilson, the writer and co-creator. She pops on there.
Oh, neat.
Hmm.
All right.
Last one.
This isn't your home. What are you talking about? This is the Umbrella Academy. This is the Sparrow Academy.
Shit. When we jumped here, we created a time paradox. Our little paradox brought forth a freaking Kugelblitz.
What the hell is a Kugelblitz?
Essentially, we're screwed.
Everybody else can see Ben, right?
Yeah, and he's a complete dickhead.
They're all dickheads. Dickheads who can fight.
Next person to say dickhead is getting a punch to the throat.
Dickhead.
Dickhead.
We caused a paradox, and that paradox is swallowing things.
How long do we have?
4, maybe 5 days before the rest of existence is blitzed.
Not to mention, we've been replaced by a bunch of blobs and cubes and birds and shit.
Your team's good, but I don't think you're better than me. I ended the world twice, and you're just meat and spandex.
Dad didn't adopt us as babies, but those babies still existed here. So, if you ever see your other self,
Kill them. Sleep with them.
avoid them.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Oh, come on, as if you wouldn't climb Luther Mountain.
If I kill you, do we get our Ben back?
What the hell did you just say?
What are you, their mascot?
More like their ringer.
It's a ballroom biscuit!
Been looking for you.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, Jordan, I feel like you're probably maybe the biggest Umbrella Academy fan here. In that I don't mean just the show, but I mean just in general. So I was a bit confused on this this current season of Umbrella Academy. Like, I felt like it started off as strong as could be. They had the Footloose dance and all that, and I was like, oh man, this season's going to be great and fun.
That's about where it lost me, though. I was like, what are 15 seconds into the show, they're doing a 5-minute Footloose dance. I'm like, where in the world did this come from?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That felt a little bit like, we're the quirky show. Let's do something quirky.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I liked it, but I was a little bit lost on it.
I don't blame you because I was there. I'm the time travel like alternate reality guy, and I'm sitting there really feeling for my wife watching it along with me because I know she's got to be lost.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting there. I mean, it was doing enough to keep me confused sometimes as to what in the world was going to be happening. I mean, there were moments throughout the whole season that stood out. I think one of my favorites was the reveal, which apparently I was one of the stupid ones because I heard like 10, 12-year-olds figuring out who Mr. what's his name? The little kid that grew up what was his name? It's like Mr.
Harmon.
Was that what it was?
Are you talking about Ashtray from Euphoria?
I have no idea what you're saying right now.
Oh, no, you're talking... Okay, I'm on the wrong
I
kid.
do, and I didn't watch the show.
I'm on the wrong kid.
No, it's the kid from the previous season.
Harmon. Yeah, I was with
Okay.
you, Jesse. I didn't figure it out until the last second either. And I was like...
Okay, good.
Yeah, I was totally there, too.
I thought that was a great moment. And the whole...
It had some, especially time travel fans, like that kind of idea that it's been 5 minutes for her, but here's this kid she left behind, and now he's an elderly guy. And
the explanation of a grandfather paradox.
Paradox. Yeah, that seems like sci-fi bread and butter right there, but surrounded by just goofy nonsense.
Right.
But again, I like the characters well enough. They can do, the plot doesn't have to be, puzzle pieces all put together. Like, I like how they interact. I like when they pair off. Some who do get along, some who don't get along. Like, I enjoyed that enough that the show, that the excesses of the show don't bother.
Yeah, I felt like they kind of, as far as the characters went, everybody was pretty on point, except like I feel like number one is getting dumber as each season goes on. I keep thinking, like, what's up with, why is he dumber now than he was before? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
That's the Kevin paradox from The Office.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was curious coming into this. My wife and I had a conversation. We were, waiting to see when this came out, about how they were going to handle, the whole transition with Elliot Page, how that was going to work into the story. Thought they did a really nice job with that, and just putting it up front and like, okay, this is the way it is, and the story continues, that type of thing. So,
and the way last season ended, it gave it some weight of like, somebody I trusted, and so I was able to be myself around them, and I discovered things about myself. So it didn't just come out of the blue,
right?
Even though it sort of did in the show, but there was enough show logic for it to make sense. And and the way the family just took it in stride, like, cool, what's up, Victor?
Yeah, exactly.
I went on record as saying I think this is my favorite family superhero TV show. I mean, there's a few out there, not a whole lot, but I mean, when you look at it's probably this and Doom Patrol. Like, Doom Patrol that's a really dysfunctional family when you look at it, and I guess they're all not related, but here they're neither related here either. But regardless, I think this one always stands out to me as a great way to watch these family members be superheroes or try to be superheroes, but it's more focused on these relationships between the members of the family and how things spin out of control, surrounded by all this wackiness that's going on. But yeah, I enjoyed the season. I don't think it was the strongest season, but regardless, there was so much thrown at you. And I don't have the cast in front of me, but the brother that was dead originally, who came back, what a jerk in this season. I mean, just an absolute jerk. And it was like no matter what, this guy could not do nothing but be berating and aggressive and just an absolute ignorant ass. But again, I made it through the season. I enjoyed it. I'll be watching the next season. I mean, we're going to have another one. It seems like they're getting ready. The ending was strange, in my opinion.
Very strange.
Because I mean, it was like every apocalypse is going to happen. Oh, okay, great. And then it doesn't. Everybody comes back. People were alive that were dead, and other people survived when you didn't think they should. I have no idea what happened in the ending. I can't even explain.
So we might be in a George R.R. Martin situation, because Volume 1 of the comics was called Apocalypse Suite and followed the story of Season 1. Volume 2 was called Dallas and followed Season 2. Volume 3 was Hotel Oblivion, where we're this season. And there is no Volume 4.
Oh wow.
No.
So we might be into uncharted territory here from the comic.
This was Gerard Way, right?
Gerard Way and Gabrielle Ba.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those situations, as we know, always end well on television.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm with you. I liked it too. I just thought, I don't know. I guess it wasn't as, the story wasn't as tight as previous.
Oh, it was all over the place.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, I mean, it had some entertaining stuff. To me, the Klaus character is always going to be my favorite. I feel like he's the star of every season. That guy just is just such a amazing performance. He's funny, but yet sincere, and you care about him for, even though he's terrible. And he just keeps coming back. And I feel like the last couple years, it's been a new mastery of his power. Discover, even though he's middle-aged at this point, but that cracks me up. If they did a Klaus spinoff for next season, I'd just be happy with that guy. So,
actually, the only other comic they've published was a Klaus standalone spinoff. So
there you go.
You might get your way.
I wasn't taken out of this season too much, but I can tell you when Klaus was getting hit by cars over and over and over, I'm sitting there thinking like, there have got to be like 20 cars sitting on the side of the road filling out reports about killing this dude.
He played catch with his dad.
And I will say that Diego having a kid and then not having a kid, I wanted that kid to be his son so bad. I wanted that to actually stick, and it doesn't. I like Diego's character, or I should say Diego as a character. But yeah, again, this is one of my favorite family superheroes. So family of superheroes. So I had a good time. I hope they really, we're George R.R. Martin and we ended it like this, and we're going to be looking into this whole, I'd hate to see how they're going to pick this up and do something with it. Hopefully they can.
That's all
right.
Got.
Well,
superhero shows.
There's plenty of TV always, but we're going to cap it there. Those were kind of the most pressing things that wrapped up recently. I just picked up during Prime Day Paramount Plus.
Ooh.
And I'm back on that Showtime for 99 cents for 2 months. So I'm going to have way more TV to watch in the next 2 months. So look forward to all that. Jesse, thank you once again. Where can the folks track you down?
Absolutely, guys. Once again, thank you very much for having me back on here. Listen, if you like comics, I got a podcast feed for you, ladies and gentlemen. Check out the Source Material Comics podcast feed on just about any podcast catcher out there. Basically running 2 shows right now on our feed. We got Source Material, which is basically a book club for comics. Tune in, listen to me talk about comics with a bunch of other people. Sometimes you may catch some solo podcasts. Most likely in the archive, by the time this airs, I would assume you're going to you should find my solo discussion on Fugitoid from the TMNT universe. And then it's me, Benjamin J. Colon, and Alexis Hanna getting together to talk about TMNT The Last Ronin. So one of the, is a very powerful Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles book. Tune in, check that out. And the other show that I run on there, it's called Unspoken Issues, which is a 90s-centric podcast. Have all sorts of great guests on there. Usually it's either me and Chris Armstrong or me and Dean Compton and some other people. I think upcoming should be Soviet Super Soldiers #1. So if you want to learn about Russian superheroes, you tune right in, because we're going to be talking about just about every single one of them, including Unicorn. And wait till you get to that part of the book. Boy, oh boy. That is all I have. Thank you very much again. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, @Stiznarkey. There you go. That's it.
What's your next trivia category?
Oh, very good question, because we've kind of slacked off here. Last month we didn't do one, and we were supposed to have one this month, and Alexis has been pretty busy with the con schedule. Usually her summer is pretty busy. But wrestling was supposed to be happening again.
Again. Tag team wrestling episodes.
Yeah, wrestling trivia is supposed to be happening. What was the last one? Which one did you guys show up on? I know, Cliff, you showed up on a Disney one, right? We almost had a Pixar
toys.
one.
He did
Toys.
Toys.
Justin did. Justin Lowe did Disney. Yeah,
that's right.
I did Batman.
That's right. So I try to make those evergreen. And, pick them up, play along. People listen. Check them out. It's a lot of fun. Throw some fun clips in there. See if you can compete with us and beat us. Best of luck.
Tripped Up Trivia.
That's
it's
right.
a good time. All right, everybody. That does it for us. For now, my name's Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
Seth, bye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, @The Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, join our Patreon at patreon.com/udownwithkpp for special content and access to Patreon-only benefits. We are grateful for anyone who chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will remain free. So please continue to like, comment, and share.